Okay, let's dive into an ancient symbol that honestly feels like it was made for our crazy modern lives, the hermit. And this isn't just about being alone, it's about that profound and sometimes scary journey inward.
You know, Henry David Thoreau really nailed it with this one. The real sanctuary we're all looking for, it's not about escaping the world. It's about finding that quiet place inside of it. This whole idea of silence being our personal, untouchable asylum, that is the heart of the hermit's path.
So here he is, our guide for this exploration. The Hermit is the 9th card of the major arcana, the big deal cards in the tarot deck that lay out all the major themes of life. He's a huge figure representing introspection, soul-searching, and hopefully a little enlightenment.
Which really brings us to the big question, right? I mean, our world is constantly yelling for our attention. Notifications, deadlines, opinions flying everywhere. So why is choosing to step away from all that? Why is that not just a nice little break, but absolutely essential for finding any real wisdom?
This leads us right into the first big idea, what we're calling the call to solitude. See, when the Hermit card shows up, it's not a punishment or a sentence of loneliness. It's an invitation. It's a call to shift your focus from everything happening out there to the massive universe that's happening in here.
And the number 9 itself? Oh, it's a huge deal here. In numerology, 9 is all about completion, about introspection. It means a cycle is ending. And that's key, because the Hermit isn't some newbie. He turns inward after he's had his share of worldly experience, so he can process it all before he starts whatever's next. Okay, so we get why we should turn inward. But to really get what the Hermit is all about, we've got to decode the visual language of the card itself. Let's break down the symbols he's carrying. First up, the lantern. Now this is not just any old light. It's the lamp of truth, and it's powered by inner wisdom. And inside you see that 6-pointed star, the seal of Solomon. It's this beautiful symbol for what the Hermit is trying to do, bring the spiritual world and the physical world together. This light isn't going to show you the whole path, just the very next step to take. Then there's his staff. This thing represents his power, his authority, sure, but it's also his connection to the earth. It's the tool that keeps him stable, that grounds his super spiritual quest in practical, everyday reality. I mean, he's on a journey of the soul, but his feet are still planted firmly on the ground. And where does his journey lead him? To the top of a mountain. This is a pretty clear symbol of spiritual achievement, right? He has literally and figuratively climbed above all the noise and distractions of the daily grind to get a higher, clearer perspective. And the last big symbol is his cloak. It's gray, which represents neutrality. It's like a cloak of invisibility, not because he's hiding from the world in fear, but so he can do his inner work without being swayed or distracted by what everyone else thinks. So here's the thing. The Hermit is so much more than just a recluse hiding out on a mountain. His role is actually way more complex, and it serves a purpose that goes way beyond just himself. First, he's a seeker, looking for truth inside himself. But then, he becomes a teacher. His retreat isn't selfish. He's gathering wisdom so he can eventually come back and share it. And finally, he's a guide. He holds up that lantern to light the way for other people. But, and this is important, he doesn't walk the path for them. He respects that it's their journey to take. And this role is absolutely critical in the bigger story of the tarot, what's often called the Fool's Journey, which is basically a metaphor for anyone's path through life. The Hermit shows up at this massive turning point. After trying to find answers in society and relationships, the Fool, or us, finally learns that the most important answers aren't out there, they're in here. Okay, now this part is really cool. The wise old sage we think of today, that is not how the Hermit started out. The card's meaning has actually changed, like, a lot over the centuries. So, way back in the 15th century, he was called Il Tempo, which means time, and he held an hourglass, basically to remind you that your clock is ticking. But then, by the 17th century, the card becomes L'Hermit, the Hermit, and that hourglass gets swapped for a lantern. The focus shifts from death to the search for meaning. Then, boom, 1910. The super famous Rider-Waite-Smith deck puts that glowing star inside the lantern, and that really locked in its modern meaning of spiritual guidance.
But we need to be really clear about something. This path is not all sunshine and epiphanies. The act of turning inward has a shadow side. There are real dangers that the Hermit card warns us about.
This path is a real razor's edge. Healthy introspection, if you take it too far, can curdle into bitter isolation.
Deep, meaningful contemplation can turn into crushing loneliness, and the search for wisdom that can sour into full-blown paranoia, where you've retreated so far from the world you just don't trust anyone anymore.
And listen to how one source puts it, because this is pretty intense. It says going inward can lead to madness, to the abyss, because you're dealing with stuff from your unconscious that you might not be ready for. The real danger is getting lost in your own head, trapped in your own world, and forgetting how to connect with other people. It's a huge warning to balance that inner search with outer connection.
So after all that, the symbols, the history, the warnings, the real question is, how do we actually use this ancient wisdom in our completely non-ancient, busy lives?
And the great news is you don't have to quit your job and move to a cabin in the woods. The Hermit's energy is totally accessible. It's just about intentionally carving out little pockets of silence to switch your focus from what the world is telling you to what you are telling yourself. So here's a super simple way to think about it. Step 1, quiet the noise. Just put the phone down, turn off the notifications, just for a little bit. Step 2, listen inward. What thoughts or feelings or ideas start to surface when you're not constantly consuming content? And step 3, find your guiding light. What's that little piece of inner knowledge that can help you take your very next step with some confidence?
Which kind of leaves us with this one last thought. Our modern world is literally designed to capture and monetize our attention. The Hermit's whole lesson is a quiet little rebellion against that. It suggests that the real you isn't found in all that noise. It's waiting to be discovered in the silence. The only question left is, are you going to take the time to listen?